Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a common problem in AV setups, getting a really clean HD signal over, well, pretty long distances. We're talking hundreds of feet.
Right, without needing, expensive fiber runs or those active Ethernet extenders.
Exactly. So we're going to dig into the Wolfpack Rugged HDMI over Coax extender. That's part number HDTV HSV 379.
The whole point of this thing really is to break that, 50-foot barrier you normally hit with standard HDMI cables?
Yeah, and it doesn't just break it, it kind of shatters it. We're talking extending a full 1080p HD signal up to 660 feet.
660 feet, that's impressive.
And it does this over just a single coax cable. Could be the newer RG6 or even, the older RG59 stuff you might already have on the walls, or RG7, RG11 too.
And you mentioned rugged right at the start. That's important here.
It is.
This isn't just a standard plastic box. It uses anti-rust industrial aluminum alloy shielding, stainless steel screws. It's built tough.
Built for what, like factories?
Yeah, think places like open-door factories, maybe outdoor trade shows, construction sites, environments that aren't exactly climate-controlled. It's rated for 0 up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit operationally.
Okay, that sounds pretty serious, industrial grade.
Hmm.
But does rugged mean waterproof? Can I stick this outside in the rain?
That's a great question. And no, that's a crucial point. The shielding is about temperature extremes and, physical toughness, maybe some electrical interference, but the documentation is really clear. The units themselves are not waterproof. You absolutely have to protect them from water, from moisture.
Got it. So rugged against heat and bumps, but not against a downpour. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's talk mechanics then. How does it actually push that HDMI signal so far over a cable that was, originally designed for old analog TV?
Well, it's basically creating its own dedicated path. You have a transmitter unit, the send unit, and that takes the HDMI input and converts it into a signal format that's optimized for traveling long distances over coax. Then at the other end, the receive unit catches that signal and converts it back into standard HDMI for your display.
So it's kind of like you're installing a really long coax cable, but with HDMI connectors soldered onto the ends, effectively.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah. It's a point-to-point extension.
And I assume these aren't interchangeable parts. You can't just use one send unit with some other receiver.
No, absolutely not. They're proprietary. They must be used as a matched pair, the specific send and receive units that come together in the box.
And they ship with their own power adapters, right? Both ends need power.
Correct. They both need power, and the adapters are included. They're engineered to work only with each other.
Okay, so the distance is great. The build is tough. What's the catch? There's usually something you need to know, some limitation when you're pushing signals this far, especially 1080p.
There absolutely is. And this is probably the most important thing for anyone considering this device. It's the progressive-only rule.
Progressive only, meaning?
Meaning this extender only supports progressive scan resolutions. So 480p, 720p, and 1080p. That's PI for progressive.
Okay. So what doesn't it support?
It explicitly does not work with interlaced resolution. So no 480i and, crucially, no 1080i.
1080i is still pretty common from some sources, like older cable boxes, maybe?
Exactly. And if your source device is outputting 1080i or 480i and you plug it into this extender, you just get nothing. A blank screen.
It doesn't just look bad, it fails completely.
Complete failure. The way it encodes the signal for that long coax run just fundamentally relies on getting those full, complete frames from a progressive signal. Interlaced signals sending odd and even lines separately just don't work with its timing over that distance.
Wow, okay, so you have to make sure your source is set to output 1080p or 720p. That's critical.
Absolutely critical. But if you do follow that rule, the performance is meant to be excellent. The specs promise 0 latency, 0 transmission loss.
Which you'd want, especially for like live video feeds or gaming maybe.
Right. And also RF interference protection, which ties back into those hostile environments we talked about earlier.
Makes sense. Now, just to be super clear on what this isn't, can I take the coax cable coming from my cable company or like an antenna on the roof, plug it into this thing, and get HDMI out for my TV?
No, absolutely not. That's a common point of confusion. This device only works as an HDMI extension.
So HDMI source transmitter, DAC receiver, DAC HDMI display. That loop only.
Precisely. It cannot tune or convert broadcast TV signals or cable signals on coax into HDMI. It's purely extending an existing HDMI source.
Gotcha. Okay, one last technical bit. Installation. You mentioned maybe using existing coax runs and walls, but what about splitters or amps that might already be on that coax line?
Yeah, another hard no there. You cannot use this with any existing passive Coax splitters or signal boosters or amplifiers you might find in, say, a house's wiring,
Why not? They work for TV signals.
because those components inherently drop signal strength. Even a simple two-way splitter cuts the power roughly in half. For an old analog TV signal, that might just mean a slightly fuzzier picture.
Right.
But for this specific high-bandwidth digital signal the extender uses over Coax, cutting the strength like that means it just dies. Instant failure. You need a clean, direct wire run. Point A to point B, no passive devices in between.
Okay, direct connection, progressive signal only, keep it dry. Those seem like the main rules.
Those are the big ones, yep.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? Why should you care about this device?
Well, I think the key scenario is really clear. If you're working on an installation, could be a conference room, a digital sign, maybe, like you said, a stadium suite, an outdoor kiosk, and there's already Coax cable installed, maybe stapled in the walls from years ago, this Wolfpack extender gives you a way to leverage that existing wire.
Ah, so you don't have to rip out walls to run new HDMI or Cat6 for a different type of extender.
Exactly. It potentially saves a ton of installation cost and hassle, letting you get a high-quality, long-distance 1080p signal by using what's already there.
Provided, of course, you remember the P in 1080p is absolutely mandatory.
And you keep the transmitter and receiver units sheltered from water. Don't forget, they aren't waterproof.
Right. So it's really about turning old infrastructure into a modern solution smartly.
That's it. Using the past to enable the present, you could say. It's a clever niche solution for a very specific but common problem.